I wish I could get you on there, but my boss is all like, nobody on that part. The other part, I let it down, grandmother. They're like, no, they can't. Let's take them down and you're going to get
You do all day.
Good evening, everybody. At this time, I would like to call our meeting to order. As we approach this meeting tonight, I would like the board's permission to consider changing the agenda for this evening to have our last item, which is to discuss the Shenandoah Hills Wind project application, to be moved up to the beginning of the meeting and get that discussion out of the way for the board. We've had good business with our legal counsel, and I feel that our counsel has answered the questions presented regarding the trace, KYFR, environmental studies, conflict of interest, the plan area, and material changes.
I don't agree with that. You feel that way?
So I just throw that out. If anybody would like to make a motion to get that up to the front, or we can continue as it is.
No, I don't. I like it. How many folks anticipate wanting to speak this evening? Can I see your hands, please? Because if we have 100 of you wanting to speak for 5 minutes, we're going to be here a very long time. So we have 5 or 6 people.
It's your job.
Are you saying, Alan, to move the Shenandoah Hills vote before Page County Rising?
No, I think Mike, yes, I think move it up to the very front of the meeting.
And that was going to notify the next thing on the agenda.
Isn't that illegal?
Sure. I've been told by legal counsel it is. Legal counsel suggests that we can eliminate public comment.
Who's legal counsel? The Winter legal counsel?
No, Jacob.
Well,
Taylor's and
I do not think it's respect to people who got on the agenda at the right time to do that.
That's fine.
Well, if I would support that if we're going to be here forever. If we have a handful of people who want to speak, and we can limit it to 3 minutes a person, and move through the agenda quickly, go as scheduled, then I'm okay with leaving it in.
Okay. The motion to approve the agenda stands.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
With the exception of 3 minutes.
With the exception.
Per person, 3 minutes per person.
5.
3 minutes. 5.
3 minutes.
How many are going to speak? Let me see your hands again. Okay. How many? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Two minutes per person is my motion, or all this motion.
All those in favor of 2 minutes? All those in favor, please vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jacob, no vote?
No.
Okay. People's Road time, if everybody would please rise and join with me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comment. Jenny?
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Kaiser, 1503 Mitchell Street in Shenandoah, Iowa. I work for Family Stations as the Director of Compliance and Public Affairs. Owner KYFR, located in close proximity to several turbines within the Shenandoah Hills Wind project. Supervisors, Mr. Morris, Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Holmes, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Ben Dawson, who's a professional engineer with Hatfield Dawson Consulting Engineers out of Seattle. And he's on Zoom. He's one of the foremost AM radio experts in the U.S. Also joining us is Kathleen Victory. She is our FCC counsel from Fletcher, Hill, and Hildreth. And she has a lot of experience in FCC matters as well as other transactions. Several wind turbines proposed within the Shenandoah Hills Energy Project are very close to the antenna system of KYFR. As you recall, Family Radio was contacted in mid-February from Energy's representative to verify our towers would not be impacted by the project. We asked for information in order to do an assessment, and unfortunately we didn't get any for 4 months. We were made aware of the location via the county website at the end of June, and our engineers worked to determine whether any turbines were within interference area of the array, and it was confirmed that there were 3. That is a concern with the Code of Federal Regulations 1.3, 30,000. We hired Mr. Dawson with Hatfield and Dawson to conduct a preliminary study of the impacts to our directional core antenna array, and he found significant interference would occur. Mr. Dawson has, to provide an update to you, provided a more extensive engineering assessment based on the receipt of some more information that we got from Invenergy's representatives. And he recommended 2 things. One, that any turbines within the project should not be located at sites less than 3,260 meters from the nearest portion of the KYFR antenna array system, now or in the future. That's turbines 54, 56, 63, and 65. And that, given the effect of the locations and the monitor points.
I'm sorry, 2 minutes is up, 15 points.
I would like to request that the case county supervisor accept the report and put it in the record.
Wow.
Very pertinent information, so it's not just popular circle.
It doesn't matter about the people, it's
The county doesn't.
It never did, it never
asked.
County doesn't. I've been discussing.
But we have people out here yelling. If you're at the podium, you speak. I don't want to hear stuff out here. I'll have to clear the room. This is ridiculous. That's fine. Yeah, you can talk, absolutely.
This is pertinent to what we're getting ready to decide. She is giving us the same thing.
We talked with legal counsel about that. I'm going to listen to our legal counsel.
I think she called us all and said that they talked to legal counsel at the end of the day. They had more talking with them, I guess, for the energy month. This is perfect information. I don't think it needs to be limited to 2 minutes. This is the service of the county. It's what we're supposed to do.
I heard from our legal counsel that we hired, and so it's between the FCC, Invenergy, and KYFR. It's not a county issue. Other than it's not a county issue. According to our
great risk by not hearing out very simple questions. But pertinent.
Let's,
On no other topic would we do this. None. No other topic.
Jenny, did you have something else you need to?
Yes, I'm very close to being done.
Can I donate my 2 minutes?
No, we're not doing anything.
We don't.
The chair.
I was trying to be brief here. Our legal counsel has advised Family Radio to only withdraw objection if the turbines that are would cause interference with 4 would be removed, and that the Invenergy would pay for a method of moment study to help us as we apply for the new FCC license. Unfortunately, we've done a lot, trying to get a lot done in the last couple of days, but we did get a more extensive report from Mr. Dawson, and as soon as possible provided that to Invenergy last Friday. We also sent a courtesy copy to Mr. Thompson, the county attorney, to continue good faith communications with both Invenergy and Page County. And I also reached out to Mr. Litchfield by email and phone last Friday and tried to set up a meeting on Monday. Once we found out about the vote today, I requested a brief extension to allow for the parties to reach an agreement by the time of the vote, and CC'd Invenergy representatives and the county attorney had a full disclosure and followed up with phone calls, so thank you all for speaking with me last night. Our legal counsel even wrote out a very simple agreement between Family Stations and the Invenergy LLC that would cover our requests in writing prior to the vote. And the president of Family Radio and I actually met with Mr. Lampa and Mr. Litchfield at our station location this afternoon to go over our needs and how we need something in writing for full assurance the station will be protected. Unfortunately, which is kind of the reason I was hoping for more time before the vote, Mr. Litchfield said they didn't have adequate time to review the proposal and agreement, and so unfortunately, despite all of these efforts for us to try to reach an agreement, the vote on this project does put the station in a very precarious position without a written agreement, and so we continue to object to the currently proposed project. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
Okay, John, you want to talk?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Greenleaf, a Page County, Shenandoah resident. I've been following the wind energy project way too long. This should have been voted on long ago, but as we all know, the naysayers keep bringing up the negatives of having wind turbines in rural Page County. Now let me add, that's their right. All military veterans, living and deceased, myself included living, fought for it. In reading the comments in the Valley News that have been brought up on this subject, I've noticed one thing, all negative. Recently I watched a movie, and there was a line that stuck in my cranium. It's only a problem if you have a solution. In all the discussion from the naysayers, I have yet to read of a solution, and is having a no wind turbines in Page County solution. A solution would be an alternative. I haven't read of one. Several counties in Iowa and around the country have put out turbines. One, our county neighbor to the west, recently approved 11 of them. Are we going to be a negative neighbor? I hope not. And due to time constrictions, I'm not going to read everything I had, but I just want you to know that, can you imagine having the same problems here in Page County that Atchison County, Missouri has? What a great problem to have, especially when Page County needs a new jail. Roads Department could possibly use some new equipment, material for the roads, and the Sheriff's Department could use a new patrol or a canine. In closing, I'm encouraging the Board of Supervisors to vote for this and leave the childish, bickering, bullying, and name-calling behind and move on to other business. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Board of Supervisors, thank you for your time and listening. And Chuck, I'm going to hand this other article over to you. And due to health reasons, I am leaving Shenandoah. Good, sir. Yes, I went to Shenandoah.
Yes.
I think you also so everybody knows.
Jesse Stimson. A couple meetings ago, I had asked a couple questions. And I remember, Alan, you were writing down notes, so I was hoping maybe you had followed up with it. So I'm going to ask you again, on the blue line is the blue line question on the proposal boundary. Did you look into kind of a good definition of what that was all about?
Yes, and when we get to the discussion, the topic of the turbines, we can go through all of the information that we learned from Labor Council the other day at one time. Probably would be simpler. There were several things that we talked about, Jesse, and I don't want to use up your time, but we talked about the trace, KYFR, environmental studies, the plan area, material changes, conflict of interest, were some of the things that legal counsel answered our questions on in our meeting last week.
And then the blue line itself, we've
It's
asked,
not an issue. Legal counsel says that it's not an issue.
can they give us a better definition? Could our county attorney maybe write something up and post it to the paper so that people within that boundary can have kind of peace of mind? Because I think the situation we are seeing currently is that there are people thinking about selling their homes, because if they wait till the turbines are there, then they're going to see a 20 to 50% drop in their home values, as the Madison County real estate agent, who, when we had our fairground informational meeting a year and a half ago or 2 years ago now, gave us those numbers. So if somebody's looking to sell or buy or are really unsure, what does this blue line mean? And what does this mean? There's going to be turbines in here in the future in this area? I don't think I'm going to buy a home, right? I'm going to sell my home now where I can get full value of my home so that I can sell.
I think it's irresponsible not to know the blue line.
So, yeah, I think the blue line should be pushed back to surround the existing turbines. So, or give us a really clear understanding of what that blue line means, so that people are not up and just guessing within that range.
Jason, what did you get out of the meeting the other day when we talked to the lawyer about it?
I got, the attorney's opinion was it shouldn't mean that, but I am not willing to stand on that, because they have a dozen lawyers or who knows how many that have changed their word more than once on it. So I have no, if the blue line is taller, they think better peace of mind.
It needs to be clear without any shadow of doubt what that means. So if you pass this proposal, does that mean there are things that are grandfathered in for future turbines to come in? I know you said that is not the case, and Benji has said the same, but I don't know.
Our attorneys have said the same.
And
Our attorneys have, we spent $400.
well, we need to have a statement made to the county so that everybody knows that.
Well,
So it's not
we
between
need a
you
statement, and we make a
and
choice.
Well, the attorney's right, so maybe they should sign it. I don't trust a single word they say.
so I would suggest that our county attorney, Carl Sonskin, writes something up with really good clarity so that those people within that boundary has a clear understanding. Is that something that we could possibly ask Carl to do?
I have no idea.
Well, to guarantee that shelter, you think it's okay, that doesn't hold much water down the road. So, I mean, it needs to be in writing.
It has already affected a number of people
It is, I've been maybe
that we know of, and because they just don't know, and we don't know what to tell them because we don't know.
We're voting on 28 turbines here tonight, nothing more. Any other turbine requires a new application, currently in a moratorium.
Well, then
And I'm guessing that moratorium will probably continue after January 1.
Okay, and I would like a statement to be made to the county in the paper and post it too, so that everybody has a clear understanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just very quickly, you can't write people off for asking these questions, guys. You were the same ones who told us for 2 years we could change the ordinance after the project was presented and promised us a public meeting.
So to sit here and act like you're being just bothered by somebody saying, are you sure? Are you sure? There's a legitimate reason for that, because we've been told, Chuck, especially by you, Alan also, but Chuck, with you as the leader in the chair, that you were sure of a whole lot of things, that Invenergy patted your back and said, and then the day came in here, they threw you under the bus, like the pawn that you're playing as a part of them, and said, no, we can't do that, we'll sue you. So it is absolutely legitimate, and you need to stop acting like you're bothered by people saying, can we get this in writing? Because your word don't mean much to us anymore.
From Northborough. I've been to many meetings, and not once have I heard anything about the propane or the gas line that runs through Page County. There's 5 turbines. There's 5 turbines that's by the gas lines. I talked to Buckeye. Those gas lines are only 3 feet deep. What do you think them cranes and stuff's gonna do that runs over those lines? They know nothing about it. They haven't been contacted. So, don't you think we should check into them? It's 63, 51, 52, 53, and 15 on your map. I mean, 3 of them is between me and Mathers. What happens if they blow? Mathers or me or Martin's are going to go with them because it's only like 1/8 of a mile from our house.
Sorry.
Anyway, not once have I heard about the gas lines, and I've talked to her all day, and nobody has contacted her. Have you talked to Buckeye, gas people? No, I mean on this project. I know they stopped you in Maryville, but did you talk to them about Page? No.
I was on the phone, I was in one of the, and I was on the phone with somebody there, I don't know if they're online, but the map that was given me, these printers are on top of that gas line.
On top of the gas line.
It is right in line with it, and the representative from Buckeye on the phone, I gave her Carl's number when I heard it. So
She didn't know anything about this till yesterday when I called her.
Unbelievable, there's one more thing. I gave it right to Carl, I don't know where Carl was, if he called her back or not, but.
I talked to Pennsylvania, I talked to Council Bluffs, I talked to Kansas City. Nobody has contact.
And they said it was absolutely not okay to be anywhere near the gas line.
So, you know, maybe we should check on this too. Not just the radio towers, the gas lines.
It runs directly through.
Yeah, right between me and Mathers.
Basically going.
In Armstrong's, yep. From 63 right up to 15. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
My name is Crystal Worrell. I've learned to come with a prepared comment. Today, our county officials are to discuss and vote on the Shenandoah Hills Wind project. I asked my county supervisors to vote no and deny this application based on the issues that continue to surface, lack of transparency, and errors that tie with Invenergy's application. It has been explained thoroughly that once an application is approved, it cannot be changed. It becomes a legally binding element. Accepting the application as it was submitted to our county would be a poor choice simply due to the numerous mislabeled errors. The occupied homes that were left off the map, the townships assigned to the wrong counties. You can't build something in a location that technically does not exist. And you can't build within setbacks of a place that does exist, but was offensively left off the map due to appearance. Many of us have paid an earnest fee towards an application or offer somewhere, and have been turned down because of something as simple. Maybe we fit the bill, but someone else was chosen over us. Companies and communities go a different direction all the time. Happens every day in hiring fairs and voting booths. When you advertise for something specific and don't get the right applicant for the job, you rewrite the specifications and requirements and host it again. Invenergy is a global company who has done projects in different countries all over the world. You would think they would be a well-oiled machine and be willing to be transparent in their practices. Instead, they conduct themselves as snake oil salesmen and conmen shortchanging a gas station. Sloppy contractors rarely do quality work. This is a bad proposal that has too many issues that need cleared up. Please vote no and decline the application on the basis that it was not executed thoroughly or accurately. Our ordinance is our job specification. It has a moratorium, and we need to rewrite it. Invenergy can simply submit a new application that will put the corrections needed now that they are better acquainted with the community they want to move into. If they are willing to do that, then the new application could be given the chance it deserves. And also, Mr. Glazer is not an elected or hired official of our county. I do not believe he has the authority or right to address us directly outside our one public hearing a few weeks ago. When we ask our county supervisors questions, they should have the answers already. If Invenergy wants to answer questions, they can send the answers to our supervisors or engineer so they may inform us of their perspectives. I am one of several who do not appreciate Invenergy's threatening, hostile demeanor. Mr. Glazer is a representative, a face of a company who wants to move into our community. I do not care to be the neighbor.
245, Crystal.
May I finish out?
Okay, please make a motion.
All he has accomplished in his activity in these meetings is to prove to us that Invenergy will talk down with the citizens they claim to be helping, or county officials, and feel they can crush us with a heavy tone and threat of legal manipulations. I request Invenergy offer some sort of apology for the rash unprofessionalism displayed by Mr. Glazer and their other representatives. Citizens expressing frustration due to misinformation and lack of communication should not be met with such arrogant audacity by people who claim to be professionals in the best in that industry.
Hello, my name is John Melvin. I'm a resident of Clarendon, and basically just a few things that I'd like to touch on. Just making sure that everything is looked at here, but I'm assuming that since everybody knows that there's been 2 settlements or lawsuits that have been settled out, and we only know the details for one, that of course the county attorney, as you guys have said, has been well versed in the rules, etc. What I'm also wondering is if the outside counsel that you guys went to appoint has been consulted with what they're going to have to pick up if it goes to them outside of that. Also, was there a second opinion given from any engineering firms? Because the one for the radio station, of course, I think that was going to be here tonight. But if all of you are, confident enough that you're not going to use the county's money for paying out lawsuits and, being absolutely proud of yourself for using that money, would you all be willing to say, hey, we'll go ahead and represent or pay for outside counsel to represent us, rather than using county money for something that you're jumping into? If I don't feel that I want my taxpayer dollars or anybody else's that doesn't want them to pay for something that hasn't been completely looked at and we're protected for. And I don't feel that we're protected right now going forward. I mean, a lot of things once again have come up. And the gas line, nobody's checked into that. The outside counsel, we have the county attorney's opinion, but does it not make sense to get a second opinion possibly from an engineering firm like you guys have talked about, and outside counsel for legal? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ingrid McCollum, and I live here in Page County. Now I'd like to say that your arrogance, crass, and unprofessional behavior here has been noted by everyone. You are servants, public servants. These are your employers.
Sherry Hunter, down by Blanchard. I will be affected a little bit by this project. My parents will be greatly affected by this project. I'm up here just to say that the gentleman that spoke earlier, that really wanted you to vote on this earlier, and I stopped him in the hallway and I asked him where he was getting his information because he hasn't been to any of these meetings. The one point that I wanted him to understand is several people have offered suggestions, compromises, things that would help. The light systems, there's so much new technology, quieter blades, lots of different things that we wanted you guys to put in the ordinance so that people would be greatly protected. We also suggested greater setbacks. We also suggested that Invenergy would actually not just survey for wildlife, but for human beings. Obviously, if you live day in and day out in anger because something is really close to your house, it's going to affect your health. Anxiety, anger affects your health. And he said he was getting all of his information from KMA and local news sources, which we know have not shared the whole story. And I just want that to be on public record. People expect to get the truth, the whole truth, not left out information from our local news sources. And we are incredibly disappointed with that. Thank you.
I live west of College Springs. I would like the blue line moved, and we've talked about that before. But also, when JD gets up here, can we have an update on what's happening on 290th Street? Sure. Because yes.
Holy cow.
I called the engineer's office the other day, and I did not get any answers except for to basically raise hell with Windstream, and that's not working. They will come to my house September 5th. So we have no internet, we have no landline, and the road is a mess. We've already had our dust abatement done for this year. It's all torn up in front of our house. So I would like an update as to what's happening out there. Thank you.
Anybody else speak?
Ashley Rakowski, and July 5th, Chuck, I think it was July 5th, you were on Zoom in your camper, noting how peaceful and how much you and your family were enjoying nature in your camper. My question is, why didn't you go park your camper next to wind turbines? And that's what we are all trying to save here, is our peace and our nature at our homes, that you two don't seem to care about and won't listen to. And also, to go with KMA, after the public hearing, I talked to KMA, and they, the next day, blocked my husband on Facebook. Thought that was pretty funny for pretty big size radio station that you would think would have other things to do than block people on Facebook. But we can no longer read their articles because they blocked us. I just hope that you guys really know what you're getting yourself into, and I hope you can sleep at night, because there's a lot of people in this that cannot sleep at night, and I hope you're proud of yourselves.
Sherry Burning.
I live south of Farragut. We have farm ground, we farm ground that is bordering Page and Fremont County, one on each side. This petroleum line this lady talked about goes to one of these fields. They're very good to work with. They gave two options. The lady that owns this ground, because this line is only 1 foot underground now, 1 foot. The gal I talked to from Kansas City said they can't even drive across this without any permission. They could rupture that line. It's either car gas, jet fuel, or diesel fuel going through that line. I can't speak for Page County, but I know, and I don't know if it's statewide, Fremont County, what, but if you've got CRP ground, 2 mile setback. Have you checked into this? 2 mile setback. That's for CRP. We're supposed to be stewards of this land. What are we doing? We're following what they want. They're going to pack up and leave when if this is put in. They don't care about us. I sat in the Fremont County supervisors meeting when they voted. What I saw was 3 men standing up there, obviously have no backbone, because when they voted, they all had their heads down. They couldn't look at us. You could barely hear them say yes. I asked them if they're bought out. They kind of got the shocked look and they tried to laugh. You guys need to really look at this. This is affecting people's lives, their health, their homes, their livestock, the wildlife. This isn't about Invenergy and the people that signed up for their deep pockets. I know of 2 people that are going to live next to these, and that's it in our area. Think about this. If you're Christians, you're going to think about this. Thank you.
Jeannie Ellison. I had no intention of even getting up this night until I realized I was kind of interchanged with my grandson on timeout. Michael, you have 5 minutes to find out. No, 3, no 2. That is exactly what I thought. This is coming out. It went till midnight. You guys are entitled to say you are supposed to say. If people have things to say and you made a limit of 5 minutes, stick with it, for Pete's sakes. I stick with my timeouts, 5 minutes, no matter what. No matter how cute you are saying 2 and 3. To the gentleman from Shenandoah who said that he hadn't been hearing good, positive things, of course not. Because there's not much positive to say. And there's a lot of people here that are not saying no turbines ever. We're saying setbacks from property lines, setbacks, further setbacks, not just from dwellings. I have a mile-long farm, so therefore that's 2 miles of my property. Once they get past their little setback from my house, which sits almost next to the road, that is vulnerable to wind turbines. That is just not right. And the gentleman I asked at one of the meetings, how many projects do you have with setbacks from property lines? He said none. Come on. They're telling you guys what to do. And we're asking for reasonable setbacks from property lines. We're not telling other farmers or landowners not to do wind turbines. We've got solutions. Try it. Give it some thought. You should have been thinking about these things all along.
3 years.
Ryan Durkowski, Point, Iowa. I just wanted to point out, Chuck, that usually we have, and I appreciate the night meeting, which is typically the first Tuesday of the month. Last week we had a night meeting to accommodate you for your new job at the prison, because you're in training. But yet you start this meeting and you don't want to accommodate the people that voted you in here, but it's okay to move it for your schedule, huh?
Yep.
And like Jeannie Ellison, I did not plan to speak today, but I realized it's my last chance to exercise my freedom of speech for 2 whole minutes. We will have a wind turbine within a quarter-mile of our house. And I'm reminded of the saying my mom taught me, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's right. Now back to when she taught me that, it may have been that I was running out into the street. And so yes, just because I can doesn't mean I should, because I could get run over. But it applies to so many of life's lessons. And you guys, just because you can vote for this plan, think about, is it what you should do? That's right. And that's what I have to say.
There's Ben Dawson on Zoom that would like to speak. He's the engineer that's working with KYFR.
There we are. Okay, yes, Mr. Dawson, we see you. Mr. Dawson, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine, sir.
Okay, thank you. Getting some Kleenex, I heard me from the other time. Now, someone wanted to ask me a question, is this the...
Not that I know of, you were called on for a public comment.
Well, you have my report.
Yes, we do, sir.
Let me say, I'm an electrical engineer. My firm specializes in applied electromagnetic physics, including the performance design, so forth, antenna systems of all kinds, including this particular antenna operated by Family Radio Incorporated, which I'm familiar with. I have over 60 years of experience with this type of antenna system. My analysis, which I provided to my client, and they provided to you, is in fact a best case analysis, which, if we have further information from the proponents of wind turbines, because they're finding considerably, what my analysis has done on the basis of attempting to show that even making all the assumptions in proponents' favor, we can still show that those 4 wind turbines will distort the antenna radiation pattern. And it's as simple as that, and there's no simple solution to that problem except the removal of those from proposals.
Correct.
I'd be happy to answer any questions if you want any specific questions.
Well, as far as removing the nodes, when was that discussion?
Yes, that's been the discussion, and that would be handled through the agreement with Energy and KYFR based on the ordinance and the way the application was written. That's the discussion we had the other day with legal counsel again. So, if I'm not mistaken, that is correct. Jacob, correct?
They should be removed. The one on that 200 feet is that, more than 3 kilometers. It doesn't take a regular engineer to even know that, but he's saying with 6 years of experience. So.
Yep, you're correct. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
I just have a question.
Can you?
I'm Diane Edwards from Nearby Point. Why isn't this going to maybe a county vote? I think this is a lot for just 3 people with everything that's going on here. I mean, should this not be maybe a county vote? I don't know.
I'm just trying to say, no, it can't be. It's not something that you can battle on.
I think it did.
State of Iowa will not allow you to vote. Unlike Missouri, you could do a referendum in Missouri or Nebraska on this issue.
see.
I believe so.
Anyone else before we go to
Is
JD?
that, excuse me, is that an I believe or I am sure?
I'm sure you can't do it in Iowa. I believe it's by it's state rule that governs
I'm
that.
sorry, you said I'm sure and I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure you can't do it in Iowa. I believe it's a state rule. Because you can do it in Missouri, you can do it in Nebraska, you can't in Iowa.
You just said I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to make a point so that we are all clear. Do you have that in writing? Yeah.
It's in Iowa code. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
can you drive that off the internet and kind of put it up there so we can all see? That would be nice.
I will provide it to you after the meeting.
After it's
We can't do a referendum, trust me.
never provided anything after the meeting.
Jane, are you on?
Jane Stinson, I'm pretty sure you don't answer questions, but voting tonight, as I understand it, with the proposal as it is, with up to 10 turbines in question in the proposal, means that if they're taken out of there, if they're taken out of the project for any reason, there will need to be a new application made with application fees for each turbine. And I'm kind of curious as to the amendment at the beginning of the project proposal, that there was an amendment that they took 3 turbines out. And I'm kind of curious as to the timing of that. If they did that after the fact, that means there were material changes made at that point, and we would need a new application right now.
Is there another person who wants to speak before we get to JD? Oh, yes, go ahead, sir.
Mark Cutler from Boyne. I have never spoke. My wife encourages me not to. But our lives will be affected by these. We're going to have 5 of them within anywhere from 1,500 feet to 3/4 of a mile away from our 2 houses. The one Mary Ryan's talking about is between us, and then Armstrong's, Milers, and everything. I'm strictly against them, but whatever. But this pipeline we're talking about runs just as close to my house as theirs, and I think that's a real concern, and I kind of like that. But I mean, if you're going to vote tonight, I would highly encourage you to check into that first, because if you know, it is close to the top of the ground, and a couple years ago, not very far south of me, maybe 3 or 4 miles, they got one up and repaired it, so it is very close. I would like to see that looked into, so thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Anyone else? Oh, Dean. I'm sorry, Dan. Dean. And then we got another gentleman back there. Sorry.
I don't know, but it looks to me like we have way too many things below the ground.
Can I get your name, please?
Dean Wise. Looks to me like we're getting way too many things below the ground and above the line, the ground. These cables have been hit before, and they're not marked very well. Somebody needs to get on these people. They are not marked at all. Somebody's going to get killed, and maybe more than one person. And as far as these setbacks, there's going to be one 1,500 foot from me. And you know, I never signed up for them. I don't want them. Now, I own a little bit of property in Fremont County, and they approached me if I would be a good neighbor. My neighbor would get one if I would go along with it. And I really didn't want to at all. My son gave me the devil for it. because I did, because I can't even get a plane in there to spray now. It's gonna be like 230 feet from my property line. And now the other neighbors are mad at me because it's going in. You know, you got neighbors fighting neighbors and probably spouses fighting over this deal. And you've heard all these people talk. Most of everybody is against them. The only ones that get them are the ones that get the $20,000 or whatever that, you know. But I think a lot more of my farm than put a wind turbine on. You know, that's the third thing in my life. My first one's God, the second one's my family, and my farm is part of me. And people don't understand when they sign these leases, that's the rest of their life and probably the rest of their kids' life. That piece of junk is going to be up there. You know, and personally, from what I hear, they don't work. I talked to some employees of REA that live in Rockville, and I said, well, you guys wind powers your city. Part of the time. Not all the time. You know, if you put up solar, maybe, you could use it yourself. This power is going to go to Chicago or whatever. Now, is that a good deal? Now, you hear all these people talk. Most everybody's against it. And you guys, are you smarter than these people? You know, in Fremont County, they passed it. But not one of them three guys had one going to be close to them. Now, are they going to be close to you guys? Well, what's that tell you, fellas? Think about it. That's all I got to say.
I'm Merlin Swanson, Coin. Have you guys talked to anybody in Missouri? You haven't. What is their cell phone service right now? Since the windmills have went up in Missouri, their signal has dropped 50%. Your daughter, your son-in-law, I don't care, a good friend is out there farming. And he gets injured. And he don't have no way to contact EMS because of these windmills. Will it be worth it?
Miranda, I just want to say, listen to the people. We're the ones who have to live with it. You know, just listen to the people. Our son is in a small piece of property, and he's got people around him that live out of the state. And, you know, they may be for it. He's talked to them and stuff, but just listen to the people. I mean, look at the people around you. We all want you to do what's right. And what's right is listen to the people who put you in office. Oh, yes, thank you.
I'm Darla Hanson, and yes, I've spoke other nights here. I'm just going to feed off for a moment from Merlin Swanson about the cell phones. He's right. And I have a brand new cell phone tower by my house, and I used to get 4 and 5 bars, and now I'm lucky if I get 2. And Chat Mobility put in this humongous tower that towers 500 feet or better in the air. Worst reception I've ever had in my life, and I've been in my house 20 years. Now I can't get cell reception. And then you're going to add more turbines, it's going to cause more trouble. Along with, I have relatives in Missouri that do not do dish, they do TV antenna. They no longer have TV, and they can't afford internet or dish. So, you know, you're affecting more than just animals. You're affecting human lives and their livelihood and how they live. And if you're a person who works from home, which I'm not, and you need that cell phone, that's another effect you're hitting. Please, gentlemen, think more about this. If they really want to bring them in, make them meet our needs, not their needs. They're bullying.
John Skinson, here outside of Clearing. Just a reminder, quick reminder, something we've said in the past. From our research, I should say from James' research, 50% of those who have landowners who signed up live outside the county. 25% live away from, out of the footprint, whether that be in town or not, but away from the footprint of the project. So there's approximately 25% of those who signed up, you could call family farmers. You know, it's always been popular to support the family farm, right? If you're a politician, you want to say, I support the farm. In this case, we're supporting the investors more than the family farm.
Amen.
Anyone else? Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
Do any of the current Page County Board of Supervisors have a conflict of interest in the Shenandoah Hills Wind project vote? Chuck? I asked you a question, you didn't listen. Were you too busy? Turn on the timer.
I'm trying to find her.
Is there any conflict of interest in this vote for you?
No.
Alan? Jacob? Alan, what about the stocks that had sworn affidavit about it?
I can talk about it later, I can talk about it now, but legal counsel said there was no issue with that. There's several court cases if you want a copy.
We're asking.
Okay.
We're asking you.
There's more. Did the wind company or one of its affiliates run ads supporting your re-election campaign leading up to the June 7th primary?
You know, I have no idea who the company or the corporation was, but did they do it?
I do. I know who it is.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one time. I'll answer my question. I'll answer the question.
Okay.
And this is.
We'll walk on.
No, if you can listen, please. I was alerted that somebody was running an ad. I had no idea, so I contacted the Ethics Commission to make sure that I wasn't doing something wrong. I had no idea. It would be no different than me writing a nice letter to the editor in honor of you. It was done on my behalf, not for me. It was done for the campaign, but it was not done for me personally by any request. I had no contact with any of those people. So whatever. You can do whatever you want with that, but that is the truth.
Okay. Thanks for the answer.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for waiting for it.
Conservatives for the Clean Energy Future is who it is. Yeah. And if you do enough research, they are tied back to Invenergy. It's pretty simple to find.
They're also tied back to almost all the Republicans.
Okay. Michigan, I think, was
all over.
Michigan.
Several different states.
And just, they spend a lot of money. We have screensavers on Fox News. We have news stations. This is little old Page County out. So I would say that you may get away with a conflict of interest on this one because they know the rules and they know how to play them. But they spend a lot of money on your re-election campaign. Okay, let's go to the next one. This project is claimed to bring in a lot of workers, correct? You own a restaurant, am I correct? You own a catering business, am I correct? Okay. I was going to have you guys read the Isaac's manual, but I don't have time because of the time limits to do that, so we'll read that in a minute. But I want to ask you personally, have you catered any meals for Invenergy to date? None whatsoever. Okay. All right. I've laid out 3 things that are a conflict of interest on different levels, in my opinion. In addition, there was a recent primary where your opponent, even though faced with huge spending for his opponent, which would be you, from an outside source, received 68% of the vote and 78% of the vote in the country where the wind turbines are going to affect people in the rural areas. While that might not be a conflict of interest, it is the public speaking loudly about what is desired for Page County. Chuck,
Yeah.
we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you have said many times in these meetings, I've been in a lot of them, and you have said many times, I wish there was a referendum in the state of Iowa. If that's not a referendum, I don't know what is. You were smoked in the record turnout primary, and I would hope the record stands that you will personally be responsible for any litigation expense based on your vote, in spite of an obvious option of abstaining from wind-related vote. Why are you so itchy to vote on this? Why? There's all kinds of holes in it. There's more holes tonight. There's a gas line, and that gas line is real. I have been down there with people, with farmers that have signed up for turbines, and those farmers have told me that the gas line has now told them that they cannot plant a crop on top of it. They can't, because if they hit the gas line, what's going to happen? So what are you going to do? What is Inventor going to do with their cranes and stuff to go over this thing? I think that needs to be looked into. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. That's another setup for lawsuit, right there.
They don't even know east and west.
That's right. They don't even know what townships are. Now, I'm going to read. I'm about done. I'm going to read the one paragraph where I come up with this conflict of interest. I don't want you to think I'm just coming up here without any backing. From the Isaac's manual, there's this paragraph here. The safest action for the supervisor to take would be to abstain from voting on matters where the role of supervisor may conflict with the role as a private business person or affected resident of the county. Alan, you're a private business person. That may, it does not say shall. It says may. That may is a pretty broad word. It may.
Appreciate your concern, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Brian Talley. I understand you guys voted against the eminent domain for the pipeline for the carbon, is that correct?
We made a statement that we were against eminent domain after the state bill.
All right, thank you for doing that. Under eminent domain, the property owner affected gets paid, right? Even though
it all depends on the compensation board that we handle.
But there is a compensation board.
There will be at some point in time.
Okay. What I see is, and I'm going back to the thing you held with everybody, the pro turbine company meeting that was on Zoom. Tenaska said they would not put a turbine within 1,250 feet of somebody who's getting paid their house. If they're getting paid, they'd move it from 1,500 maybe up to 1,250 to fit it in so they could get the payment. Apparently 1,250 feet is an important number. And I think when you allow someone to build closer than 1,250 feet to a property line, you are in essence taking their land.
Yes.
We all go to a compensation board for those people that are affected by that, because I understand there's problems with getting insurance on a hog building. I'm just thinking, if you guys are against eminent domain, this is worse. And it's not affecting, it's not for the benefit of all the people, it's the benefit for one particular company that wants to do this development. And so I just think based on the fact you guys have said you're against eminent domain, I see this being worse than eminent domain. And that you're taking some of my land and letting them build a turbine where the protected area falls onto my land. I should be compensated for that.
Right.
Anyone else?
Absolutely not prepared for this. Samantha Webb, former teacher. So, first of all, I can't imagine how you guys might be feeling right now. I mean, all of these people are here and they're kind of all on the same team. And a couple of you are probably feeling a little backed into a corner, which is pretty uncomfortable. And what happens to our bodies when that happens is we either shut down, quit listening, or our heart rate goes up. And we feel some anxiety because we understand that the people in this room are pretty passionate about how they're feeling. So relax, because I'm not going to pick on anybody. And I kind of know where Jacob stands, and I think I know where you two stand. So here's my question, because I noticed you are starting to answer questions. It's awesome. What have you heard tonight?
What have we heard tonight?
What have you heard? Like, just give me some bullet points. What have you heard from the speakers so far?
A lot of concern, some about the distance, some about the pipeline, supposed pipeline, some about,
Yes.
No, you guys, stop.
The CRP land that Sherry mentioned.
Okay, you're good. You were listening. Okay, I took notes. So, Chuck, what did you hear?
I've heard the same concerns, but I've heard a lot of the same things we've heard for the last 2.5 years as it relates to setbacks. And there is no active development that I'm aware of in the state of Iowa where setbacks are tied to the property line. That's been asked of the last 3 years. And, we talk about it being too close or not being far enough away, not protecting the property line. When you set them to the property line in Iowa, the way land lays out, that's basically a moratorium, which takes away the land rights of people who wish to participate in my
Okay, no wait, you're making a really good point on where you stand, but what have you heard? I mean, if you've been hearing this for 3 years, it's worthy of listening to, right? And so I'm going to ask Jacob, what did you hear?
Many true concerns. I've heard things that have shown, which we've talked about for years, that our ordinance, what's 19, I said this before I even thought about running about it, has a gospel hold and is written to the advantage of, like Darla said, I wish I could say it the way she said it, it's written for the salesman coming in, not for the people living here. It is, and a note that I took in my mind as we go through these things, how the ordinance protects us and these issues is, it does very little, and it's very disappointing. And as far as our ordinance does say that anyone can give up a setback. The property line argument is the silliest thing I've ever heard. It forces the developer to talk to everyone, and they can sell it. The setback goes away. So you took communication away, and you did what Brian said. You created in the domain silent stealing.
Okay, and we don't want anybody to attack each other, right? Because we're all really wanting the same thing. We're all really wanting progress. Yeah. Okay? And so what I heard was some concerns, gas lines, proximity to homes. There's newer technology out there that we probably need to investigate before we say yes. I mean, wouldn't we kick ourselves if we found out 2 years from now there was something so much better and we just should have waited? And there's nothing wrong with waiting. I'd rather wait. Actually, slow is fast. To be honest, in technology, slow is fast. I also heard that big companies can be very persuasive. Okay, and I've also heard that the cell phone service is a concern for legitimate reasons. And I think it was somebody that said only 25% actually signed up that it would even affect. So it really sounds to me like the only entity that's going to benefit is big corporations. It's not our county. And I'm all about green. I mean, I've taught science for 33 years. I understand wind power. I understand solar. I understand all the different types of energy. We're just not quite ready with the wind turbines to really make a dent in going green. And that's just my opinion. And then the last thing I will say is, and then I'm probably used over 2 minutes, and I thought it would take me 30 seconds. It's okay to change your mind. It absolutely is okay to change your mind. It's so much better to do the right thing than to be stuck in pride. Just do the right thing. Thank you.
I didn't plan to speak tonight, but those who know me probably aren't surprised. I am wondering if you have had any response in whether or not the Wabash, the turbine 77 by the Wabash Trace is still considered to be a part of the proposal.
We'll address that during the.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I don't believe it should be.
What?
I don't believe it should be.
So if you do adopt that, you are going against your own ordinance. You're going against the ordinance that was adopted back in 2019.
We'll discuss that during our discussion about the legal response that we received on that.
I spoke last week about my concerns about the quality of the proposal, the errors, the misrepresentation, the omissions, and the fact that that shows, in my mind, a great deal of lack of respect of you as a board of supervisors, to the citizens of this county. I also spoke about the issue of Invenergy wanting to be a partner. And I think we're seeing in several different ways that they're not displaying good partnership, an attitude of partnership. To quote the famous poet and writer Maya Angelou, I just would like to use her phrase of, when people show you who they are, believe them.
My name is J.D. Kennedy, and you guys know I'm a county employee, so I have to be a little cautious about what I say. But I haven't heard anybody in here tonight say anything about the fact that most, if not all, of the equipment, machinery, and parts of these wind turbines come from communist China.
Turn around, Caitlin.
It's pretty nice back here. Why is that here?
I'll make sure it's on my there.
Sorry, Jacob.
We need to reverse the room, Jacob.
Yeah, we should say that. I just want to make sure it was on before we get it off.
Anyone else? JD, you're up.
Good evening, JD King, Page County here. It's a hot day in Page County.
Yes, it is.
Although the air conditioner over there is working awful. I sent the engineer update yesterday afternoon. They may have got another one, some technical issues with my wind stream, internet. We're hauling off, the blades are working on the dirt. It's pretty dry to be grinding up rock on the gravels. Our spray pressure screw is still not working, waiting on oil valves for the storage tank. So that crew's was working on replacing deck planks on some of our timber deck bridges. Got a couple more in the pavements, placing riprap, and we're going to start on pipe replacement on V Avenue down in Buchanan Township, south of Lost Falls. 290th Street is in tough shape. We got a contractor plowing fiber through there.
Which contractor?
I think it's Kramer.
Working for?
Nadam?
American Energy is who I've heard. That's what they told us. They're attaching it to Invenergy substation, right? They're in Harbor, right?
So we have, this is gonna come, I called on this road this week to make these people tear up the road, put the rock back. They said on one road in Amity Township, they just rocked it. The guy called me, he said they, basically, we just dropped it, and now it's a mess.
Right, so we're gonna have, we're sending the bill to Kramer for some damages to J55 south of Quarry.
Yeah.
And basically, I think I'm planning to have them re-rock the road.
And then they're gonna have to retouch it, re-spray the dust.
Yeah. What's your name? And Annie, we have sympathy on the response of Windstream and the thing. If we wait on them too,
There's like our whole road, like from Hollow Street out, everybody knows.
Is it Kramer?
Yep.
They're also east of Braddyville out. That's terrible. I was told that's why I put that in there, because they've got the Windstream line, I don't know how many times in America do it through there. There is no phone service anyway. Out there, so, east of Braddyville, all the way up there.
Why are they doing this work before there's an agreement?
I don't know, it seems pretty foolish in my mind for a wind turbine producer, company to be spending lots of money on something that hasn't passed. That does seem unresponsible, they shouldn't be upset if it did pass. That's what you said, Mid-America, who owns the substations, who they told us they're gonna sell to, they sold all their projects to, in 6 months, not all to Mid-America. They sold all their projects. Yeah, you don't have to be a real backlock to figure this out. It's to connect their two substations that I'm aware of. But anyway, this is serious, and I want to make sure that it is more than adequate they pay to fix this. And there's some kind of enforcement. What enforcement we should even do with people, I don't know.
Well, so they're already doing that.
We just spent a ton of money rocking these roads. We all signed to do that. I just hope they're helping out.
What's the route? They went across the yard the other day.
Okay. The tandem, the insurance is taken care of. Is up with compact truck equipment.
Can I have quiet in the room so we can hear Katie? I'm sorry. I just like to be up here.
The boom mower has a fuel tank leak, and they're doing work in the shop. On the engineering side, the Hopkins resurfacing job on Stan Road, waiting on the patchers, both hot mix patching and the concrete sub, who's going to work on a bridge approach on the north bridge and cutting normal strips at the stops. We're working on final paperwork for the Farm to Mark Rocket Hall and the Seal Coat project. The V61 bridge on 280th Street in Buchanan Township. The contract is fully signed. We have an insurance certain performance bond and various subcontractors. Robertson Smith will begin the project when they have a crew event. When that is, sometime in the fall, I don't know. We're working on project development on T-34, 190th Street and M56, and W65 and various other projects. We're working on the annual report from fiscal year 22, and based on some discussions with the board, I'm working on some ARPA projects, putting together some rock road connectivity plan, pull that into maybe a local road resurfacing project and a bridge repair package. And then of course we always have equipment needs of various types. What are your questions from me?
Are you guys okay with what he said?
And Morrison? And what would?
How about restitution for loss of internet? She's a teacher for parents. Where's her restitution? Where's everybody else's restitution?
I just want I don't know how they get rid of cutting phone lines forever. I don't understand that. If I cut them, I'd be in big trouble. But the question's on the roads where we've rocked all these roads. It's more than just 290, because I was called at the east of College Springs, a different area that was rocked. I'll talk to them who it was. They called them down there. So any road that these lines have been on, these lines are very lines. If they have ruined their rock, they're causing the dirt road. I mean, I want every one of them things fixed.
We know they're involved.
And not fixed to 60%, right? Like we did last time. So I want to fix to 100%. Now 110 would be better. Yeah, we screw up the cost money.
Okay. Thanks, JD.
Can I say something?
Next item up is discuss approved radio recorder contract with Sheriff Hall.
So what this is what we talked about a meeting ago. Emailed all of you a copy of this. It was Sunday night. We went to the office, emailed this out. This came from Montgomery County. This is a standard contract. It's got Carl's blessing on it. He's looked it over so we can have our radio recorders, not only just law enforcement, but EMS, fire, all those can be recorded. Our phone lines are already, so this is something that we had to figure out how to do. And this is the best option that I think we have. If we do it ourselves in-house, it's going to be astronomical compared to this. Like the $5,000 annual, have Montgomery County do it, and Mills County and Fremont County both do this. Same contract they have, they just took out their county's name and put it in Page County.
Hold on a minute, 1 second. Did JD just leave? Yes. He needs to come back. I want him here for when we discuss all the rest of it. Let me catch him. I don't know if it's bathroom, but the bathroom. Go ahead.
That's all right. So, all this is required is, I think, the chairman of the board of supervisors, myself as the. I did go in there, and she was not in there on how it's going to be paid at this time, whether it's ARPA or out of our budget.
We talked about using ARPA funds if necessary, or if it was in the budget, we could.
I don't know that it's in the budget this year, but operationally it needs to be.
So you have one budget, I don't know if it's in that or not.
I'll add that to that list. Okay.
We'll look at it. That's all I need is a signature from you and a motion. Do that and go from there.
We approved the radio recorder contract with Montgomery County.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Okay, next item up. Do you need anything signed now, Lyle? Lyle, do you need anything signed now?
No, it's great.
Okay. Next item up is Page County Horizons, updates on issues and proposals.
My name is, well, thank you guys for letting me speak. My name is Brian Webb, that was my wife, that was doing the question and answer. Just in case you guys are wondering, I get that all the time. All the time. I'm a long-term resident of Page County. I was born here 62 years ago, and I actually have a plot north of town, so I'm as long-term as you can get in Page County. I take what happens in Page County very seriously, as do most of the people in this room. And if we're looking around here, with rare exception, most of the people in this room have called Page County their home for decades. I'm a business owner, I have 25 employees. Most of them are long-term residents of Page County also. Most of them with me for over 20 years. Could you not hear me before?
No,
All right. Let me start over. I'm a business owner and I have 25 employees. Most of them are long-term residents of Page County also, and most of them with me for over 20 years. I personally deal with farmers in my business, and I'm one of those guys, I talk issues with my customers. They say don't mix business and religion and business and politics, but I don't believe that, you know. If I'm in favor of something or if I'm against something, I'm going to talk about it with people. I'm going to find out what they think, and I'm going to listen to what they have to say. That's how good relationships work, and that's how good decisions are made. I have some customers that are in favor of the windmills, I'll be honest with you, but it's not very many. Probably less than 6 families. I've literally had hundreds of farmers talk negatively about this issue. I've been in people's homes in the late afternoon with the tower in the west, and the drapes are pulled, and all the lights are on to offset the shadow effect. I've been working on planters in a field and had to listen to that constant whoosh, 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 whoosh. Unless it's really blowing, that's whoosh, 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 you know. And it would drive me nuts to listen to that day in, day out, year in, year out. I couldn't do it. And I can guarantee you don't want to be getting hit with sleet off those blades when it's sleeting and they're spinning. Some of the things I've noticed is cell phone service really deteriorates when the wind is blowing. From Wilcox to Maryville, when the wind is blowing, there's no coverage. When the wind's not blowing, you can talk on your phone. Highway 92 east from 71 to Greenfield, same thing. When the wind's blowing, you can't talk to anyone. 59 going south to Tarkio, same thing. So my question is, what effect are these turbines going to have on our 911 service in the southern part of the county? We spent a fortune on these freaking radios. What's it going to do when the wind's blowing? We live in an agricultural rural area. I can tell you that sales of row units, markers, disc gang supports, anything that is supporting a ground engaging item is way out. The stuff is getting broken off on the roads and the fields. Spray pilots don't want to fly around these turbines. Tile repair and dirt work is going to get more expensive around these turbines as the locates for the underground wires are way off. A dirt guy in Taylor County hit a power line earlier. No juice in it, didn't get hurt, but it's going to happen. Some dirt guys are already talking about not working in planned areas. Also, helicopter air evac services are going to be very limited in those areas, especially at night. And as you probably figured out by now, I'm associated with this group, Page County Horizons. I was not looking to join a group, it just happened, and that's the way a grassroots movement works. People have a similar passion or a belief that it draws them together, and that's just the way it is. And this group is not really against turbines, it's for property rights. And it's an educational group, it educated people, and it did a really good job of educating people on wind turbines, and it was evidenced in that election, in that primary election. We saw that. And to me, the thing that's most important to me about this group is there's a lot of compassion. I live 20 miles from the closest wind turbine at this plant. But I feel the pain of these people that are going to be living next to this stuff and living and having to, and the fear they're feeling now, knowing that what's coming, you know. There are literally hundreds of people in this group. Literally hundreds. And many of these people have gone door to door in the plant area and talked to property owners. There are potential injured parties. Many of these injured parties have come to these meetings and they've tried to pour their hearts out to you guys. So here's just a brief on just a few of them, just a brief one. There's a family where the wife is an epileptic, and they have medical concerns. There's a 600-foot tower coming in 1,500 feet from their house. They're concerned on the red flashing lights and the repetitive sound. There's a family with an autistic child. They have concerns on the same type of issues. And the sad thing there is, they can't go to grandma's house if it's bad because she lives in the project area also. There's another one that has living quarters and a business with a turbine 1,300 feet away. Another being threatened with an insurance problem in a livestock building that's too close to a planned turbine. There's already been one property sale that has been backed out on that we know of. The highest bidder withdrew his offer when he found out the house was in the project area. So they had to sell to a lower bidder. They sold because they were worried about what's coming. There are 10 to 15 others that have been identified for various other reasons. Mostly loss of resale value, noise, aesthetics, personal choice, whatever. Okay. I want to talk for just a minute or two here on the wind turbine ordinance. This is the wind turbine ordinance here, 26 pages long. This is the ATV ordinance, 6 pages. So this 6-page ordinance was done over 7 meetings from the 10th of August last year to the 9th of November. This 26-page ordinance was done in 2 meetings from the 17th of September to the 29th of October. And those 2 meetings where this was mentioned, the sum total of all the writing is right there. That's it. The first meeting it's mentioned in, basically, we had a new ordinance and we're going to print it. The second one was when you passed it. And you, to compound this travesty, you guys bypassed the first and second reading and went straight to the third. How do you get 26 pages out of those kind of meetings? How does that happen? I mean, I have ideas. Neither one of you guys look like Harry Potter. So, I don't know, you know. I guess I haven't tried this. Smells like a smoky room in the back of a bowling alley. But, Chuck, you ran on a platform of transparency. And that's why I supported you in your first election, voted for you, advertised for you, stuff like that. You guys have had constant negative sentiment on this ordinance from the public from day one. And I can see why. Your responses to allay the concerns of the public has been to say, we can make changes later, we need to wait until the plan comes out. People were asking for public meetings, but you guys were never going to make any changes, and that's obvious now. Mr. Morris broke that bubble with his comment in March of this year saying that ship is sailing. You made justifications for the setback by saying 1,500 feet is appropriate for 300-foot wind 300-foot turbines. Some fun equipment dealer just come out. You qualified the completeness of the ordinance by talking about how much time you spent on it. It's complete. It covers the decommissioning, the decibel level, the road use agreement, setbacks. And yet the decommissioning is basically a blank page waiting for these guys to tell us what it's going to be. When you combine the multiple comments by board people on the size of the Southwest Page project long before it was brought forth, the possible deception of the public by the constant referral of 200 to 300-foot turbines and how they are ideal with the setback, when the reality is 550 and 600 feet. The multiple comments made by supervisors on how much time has been spent on the ordinance, comments in the record like we put in a lot of effort, we spent a lot of time, we put hours into this. Honestly, guys, it makes for quite a case for violation of the open meeting laws, collusion, detrimental reliance, and fraud in the public. In the March 8th meeting, Mr. Armstrong stated that several things needed to be reworded in the ordinance. Later in the same meeting, in an exchange with Mr. Holmes, Armstrong stated, I will vote no if there are any issues with this project. And Mr. Morris agreed. But honestly, I breathed a sigh of relief sitting over there when I heard that. This project started with 31 turbines. 3 had a problem right off the bat. 4 more are a problem with KYFR. Another is a problem with the trace and its proximity to the trace. That's 74% correct. That's a C where I went to high school. So there's no honor roll students bringing this plan to Page County. And with respect, that in and of itself should be a big issue. ComSearch made recommendations to the Shenandoah Hills project about the problems with the KYFR station, and these guys didn't even listen to their own paid experts. That's an issue. Have we ever received the FAA or the FCC approvals that's required in Section 3, Item 12? And if we did, how did the KYFR issue get through? Have we ever received the environmental studies on migratories and endangered species? That's also in that same section. You can't expect people to be happy looking at these ugly 60 stories tall. The wingspan on these fan blades is almost 3 football fields. Think about that. You know, how are they going to be happy looking at this stuff for the rest of their lives? And these are substantially bigger than anything we've seen around here. You know, we go to Taylor County or Nottoway County or Atchison County. Those are 200 to 300 foot towers. We're talking 550 to 600 foot. When I first saw an industrial wind turbine complex, and I'm going to call it that because it's not a farm, okay? It was in California about 25 years ago, and they were maybe 100 feet tall. And they were almost cute. You know, they're on a mountainside along the interstate. Am I digging? And nowhere near houses. They were nowhere near houses. Now we're talking 600 feet. And they're in people's front yards now. And they make a 900 foot and a 1,200 foot tower. So I have to look at that ordinance and I look at that 1.1 times setback and I have to wonder, what's in our future? Are we going to get 1,200 footers? This county and everyone in it is being forced to do business with this company if you vote for this. We're in the dating mode right now. You guys are wanting us to get married to these guys. They've already violated the road use agreement. They stated in this venue here that they contacted everyone in the project area, and they hadn't. It's my understanding now that any communication between Page County and Energy is done through lawyers. That doesn't sound like a good relationship to me, and I don't think I'd want a second date. And the estimates, I'm going to talk about the money here for just a minute. The estimates of $1 million coming into the Page County government isn't that impressive either. And that's at its maximum, which will take 7 years to take place. You have revenue stream right now of about $12.3 million a year. So this is approximately 8% if you've got the money all today, right now. 5, 6, 7 years from now, it won't be 5%. I've paid taxes in Page County for 40 years, and I'm at the max every year. And every other business in Page County is at the max also. Taxes aren't going to come down with this. This is not going to help us at all. I'm just begging you guys, don't prostitute this county and its people for so little.
Come on.
I served on boards, and I was always sure that if no one came to the meetings, I was doing something right, or we were all doing something right. You guys are making a tough decision. I can tell you this much. To my knowledge, nobody has bought ground anticipating getting a windfall from a wind turbine. But there are people, the inverse is true. People are walking away and they're wanting to get away. People, Page County people are concerned about this in their future. In a populated ag area, I feel that turbines are a pariah. The vast majority of people in Page County are against this decision, and that's who you represent. Many other Iowa counties are starting this fight against this also. Hardin County, Tama County, Madison, Worth, Winnebago, Mills, Montgomery and Potawatomi, just to start it off. And what's happening is people are seeing things, they're seeing these things when they travel. They're talking to people that are there. They're getting more feedback, and it's the vast majority of it's negative. There are supposedly multiple lawsuits starting up in Taylor County. If you guys don't stop it here, we're going to try to stop it with a vengeance on it in court. You guys have, honestly, you guys have committed suicide with this issue. And that's what it is. It's this issue. You're nice guys. It's this issue. Is it worth it to go against the vast majority of the people you live with? I'm asking you to vote against this plan, and it should be easy. There's ample reasons to vote against it. I told you before I was associated with this group. Page County Horizons is looking for 2 new members. Won't you guys join us? I can guarantee you guys, if you do this, you can get at the head table at the annual Christmas party. Vote this thing down. Don't sacrifice this county and its citizens on aluminum crosses made out of windmills. It's not worth it. Thank you.
Jesse has an update from the gas line people, but before that, Jenny, do you have a question? Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Come on up. Yep.
I really, my question is just because KYFR has heard from our experts in AM that best case scenario, 4 of the turbines are going to cause significant distortion. And our legal counsel has advised us to have an agreement before this vote could take place. Could you tell me what your third-party legal counsel advised you, what you could do for us to protect us as a radio station by passing the vote without reaching a written agreement?
You want to read that, or do you? I know you contacted Maria again about that.
Section 3 of the ordinance does not require the applicant to provide, can you guys hear me? Does not require the applicant to provide a radio signal interference mitigation plan to the county as part of its application. The zoning administrator, county engineer, determined in his review that of the application that the required setbacks from radio communication facilities under section 4.11 parentheses 3 of the ordinance has been met. As we discussed Friday, the ordinance does provide protection for KYFR under the non-interference mitigation requirement in section 4. This section applies to permit requirements applicable to the siting, construction, and operation of approved turbines. If the developer does not minimize or mitigate signal interference impacts caused by construction of turbines, then the ordinance requires the developer to handle ensuing complaints which may end up in court. The county may also receive complaints and request for permit revocation of those turbines that are alleged to be causing the interference if the problem is not resolved. So,
which are simple misdemeanors, right?
Yeah, the simple misdemeanor,
the ordinance is terrible.
but the teeth comes between Invenergy and the FCC, because if they create signal interference and refuse to or unable to mitigate it, they will be required, as I understand it, the FCC will require them to take it down. Or you will you'll battle.
We'll have to battle out in court.
You'll battle.
Legal costs.
Why would we want a local radio station enter into a legal cost when we can station and do it?
Well,
look out for us too.
Again, it's everybody's got their opinion on that, but there are matters there are legal matters that occur every day between 2 parties. The ordinance, what we're looking at, Jenny, that we got information from our attorney is it a legal ordinance? What's our responsibility as pointed out in the ordinance, okay? So, what that tells me is that, yes, there's an issue between you and inventors.
Do you have a
Clearly, some mitigation efforts and agreements are being worked on, and I'm sure will continue to be worked on, because if they aren't settled, the FCC will probably make them bear them down.
Our ordinance does say that they submit it, but then we will get we don't have them, I don't think. There's no way we can have them, but it's about a plan. So we have the FCC permit that's applied, we don't. Because they would know where they could get it. Why wouldn't we just, our ordinance does declare that we get these contracts, when the FCC gives their approval, we're supposed to get that. Is that right, JD?
Yeah.
So we don't have it, do we, JD?
No.
So why not wait till then? We have to give that to us.
Well, you're permitting, when is your license renewal? Because this is for your license renewal, as I understand it?
No, we have received our license renewal as of last year. So this is basically so that we don't have interference, so that we can
So
continue.
what license process are you currently in that you stated in the meeting that you're currently in the process of getting relicensed, and I didn't understand.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. I said, given the effect of the outer turbine locations and the effect of those greater distances on the monitor points for the nighttime array, the KYFR antenna system should be relicensed, because having these turbines located near us will force us to be relicensed with, we'll have, every time that there's a turbine constructed, we'll have to take monitor points and we'll have to be relicensed with the FCC. So it's a burden placed upon us, we would not have if it weren't for the project. So yeah, we are currently licensed. It would force us to have the burden of being relicensed. And so we've asked that the company would pay for a method of moments proof of performance, so that we wouldn't have to take monitor points and have that burden every time a turbine is built.
I think a good contingency would be when we receive these documents that they've been FCC approved, then we go forward.
Well, the reality
They
is,
have to give it to us.
the reality is, however,
Who's reality?
that interference won't be fully known until construction, because those are computer models, as I understand it.
They have to submit this to him.
You're not going to know what the interference is until a turbine is in place.
So they will not submit this, they will not submit the FCC application or the approval until after the turbines are built. They're going to build these giant turbines, they're going to tear them down. They have to have a permit to build them, and they have to give us the FCC permission. I believe that's a good way to work this. Once they get their FCC permit that they have to give JD according to our ordinance, work the product, then we come in here and talk about it.
Again, according to what our attorney told us, the email that you and I and Alan received indicates that the requirements of the ordinance in relation to the KYFR issue have been met. And our duty is to approve or disapprove this application based on whether or not it meets the ordinance. And according to our legal, that you got, I got, you got, on this issue, it meets the ordinance.
Yeah, we had a very short amount of time to put together a settlement agreement. I mean, literally, in the last couple of days is the time we were able to get our extensive engineering results and try to set things up. And I just can't help but say this is really rushed. And we've really done so much to try to meet this requirement. Our legal is to protect ourselves legally and get an agreement together. We had our attorney draft it today and present it to Mr. Litchfield and Mr. Lampa. And the whole reason I asked for the extension was so we had time to make an agreement. And that's what they said. We don't have enough time to review this. So it's you're kind of forcing us to fail. In reaching an agreement. And so I just would ask if you would consider whatever you can do to protect your local radio station that's been here 40 plus years, because you're putting us in a really precarious position and unnecessarily. So that's all. I just wanted to have some questions answered about that, and I appreciate you answering them, especially, and thank you, Alan, for talking to me a little bit on Friday and telling me you're trying to protect us. So thank you for answering my question.
If you want to, you'll need to stand up here and tell us who you are.
I'm Dennis Staley, I'm a resident of Peach County all my life. But I just have one question that I thought of when she was talking. If they have to tear them down, are they gonna take everything out? The concrete that's how many feet below the ground? Or are they just gonna shave them off 5-6 feet down so you can theoretically farm them? I don't think that's the right way to do it. But if they're gonna tear them down, let's take them down, complete everything that's there. And the wiring, and the whole works. So to me, it makes sense to find out that whether it's really right to put them in the first place or not. Before we get into a situation where we have to do it.
We still have time. There was a message sent to Barb from the gal that she's been talking to from Buckeye Petroleum. And she was on Zoom, but she got kicked off or something for some reason, timed out, or I don't know. But she said, great speech about the high pressure petroleum line. Bottom line is, they have to have plans approved by Buckeye, and they do not. We have tower setback requirements. We will need to have arc fault study done, high voltage study, need to address the equipment on Buckeye's right-of-way and air bridging for shallow pipe. We will have to have crossing agreements signed before work can take place. So that's what she updated us with. Thanks.
Okay. Next item up is to discuss approve the Shenandoah Hills Wind project application. Anybody want to talk what else we learned from the other day, or did we cover everything? No, we need to cover the Wabash trace,
okay,
and the boundaries. Yep. We kind of talked about the boundaries and the blue line, if you will. Our attorney that we paid, and when litigation happens, if this is approved, if Page County Horizons sues us, the people we
or Invenergy.
Or Invenergy. Yeah, or Invenergy.
Yeah, there are a dozen lawyers, there's 3 dozen lawyers.
We will not be represented by Allers and Cooney in all likelihood, because that will be a choice of our insurance carrier, ICAP. ICAP typically would send us to Hopkins and Heidner, the company that we thought, the company that we used on the open records request, where thousands and thousands of documents were sent. We used Hopkins and Heidner at the request of our ICAP carrier, only to find out that since there was no litigation, the county picked up that entire $20,000 bill. So we assume that if and when there's litigation, Hopkins and Heidner will be not Allers and Cooney. We went to Allers and Cooney to one of their attorneys who has dealt in a bunch of wind issues in Iowa, and we had a session with her on Friday to talk about the blue line, to talk about the Wabash trace, to talk about conflict of interest. What else?
Environmental studies.
Environmental
She
studies.
did not talk to us about combat.
Oh, that was what we did with our county attorney on that one. And then on the issue of KYFR. And then the follow-up email came, I don't know, yesterday, I believe, or Sunday, on the KYFR. And did I give that to you?
No, I got it. It was yesterday.
So, what she told us, our attorney, was what this board has been telling everybody in relation to the blue line, this application grandfathers nothing in. That simply shows where the land contracts exist. And she, in witness of all of us, and our county attorney and our auditor's representative said there's absolutely no way that additional turbines could be built if this contract or application was approved without another application.
Well, if that would be considered a material change, add turbines, wouldn't it? We had a discussion on material change, which our county engineer then weighed in on his definition of material change was, which is nonsense in my opinion. So I don't believe that's still based on that one line home, and I don't believe that we probably got all that bottom of it either. And I do not trust if Energy who's threatened to sue us when they didn't even have a project submitted. They could talk about things in front of us. I don't forget what happened. No project was submitted to us, and they said they sue us. We changed our ordinance. So I don't believe the blue line. I get her theories in that, but I do not think I would want a second opinion on it because I do not agree with that, especially from a bunch that sue us. And the threat of litigation seems to make people run around and do that. So, yes, her opinion was she didn't think it would cause a problem. But the material change definition I've been received from JD, his opinion, which we seem to be running with, is nonsense, in my opinion, that we can change things several turbines, I would say one way or the other. Everything based on his opinion. So, no, I do not have comfort with the blue line. I do not. She did say it probably would be an issue. She did kind of say that. But I didn't get comfort at all. And it would not be an issue. She said it probably would not.
Probably in
It's her opinion, it would not be an issue.
You want to address the Wabash Trace?
And the Wabash Trace, I greatly have a bigger problem with that, and she did leave some room for error on that one. And that it does say in one part of the ordinance that there's some wording that could make it seem like it doesn't count. There's the other part of the ordinance, which I'm sure their attorneys already know all this, we're helping them out now. But the other part of it does say public hearing. So it kind of conflicts with itself. The ordinance is not consistent. And so there can be an argument either way, would be what I would say. I got that. And I would make the argument for protecting people and common sense in that situation. But say what you thought of. I mean, she gave a room for error in that one. That's what my opinion was.
What was some of the other
the authenticity of the environmental studies. She agreed that there's nothing more that we were going to find from anyone, that the studies that they had done were done through the right sources, and I don't know exactly her term for it.
What I kind of remember was our ordinance didn't really force them to do anything. That's what I kind of remember is what it was. There was what we required they did,
right,
which is very little. That's why I wrote on my note. Very little worthless ordinance is what I wrote down. And so that is basically what we got of that. Now, if there's if there is an eagle within 1 mile, an eagle nest of turbine, they let us know. That's what they're saying. And there is question on that. I had people call me actually, and there is, and they reported the NR vote, and I think they reported there is at least one eagle nest. There's several in the blue line that are we've not been made aware of. There's at least one that I tried measuring myself on coordinates, just basically 1 mile from proposed turbine. And they're reaching out to DNR to not get back today to go out and verify this exactly by coordinate to coordinate. So if that is true, they have not fulfilled what they said. But there's really what she did tell us as far as the wildlife go is they're just supposed to let us know. And the ordinance is very, very weak on that. But that is she just reads the ordinance. That's all she's doing. Reading the ordinance. Don't trust us.
So can I ask, how did she make you feel comfortable to vote? Because I didn't know the answers out of anything. Exactly. We think, probably, possibly. I mean, how is that? She gave you no answers. You paid her a lot of money for not one certain answer.
When you come to the
protecting
courthouse,
you.
every ordinance, whatever you bring to the treasurer's office, the court or whatever, everything has to be perfect in that document. Everything in this ordinance is not perfect. If it's not perfect, they send you out the door to redo it, to come back until it is perfect. This is not
Yeah, I do not feel it's perfect, and if I want to get a title from Angie, if I had something wrong, I'd have to go back and pay for it, so.
And if I were you three, I'd feel like you're talking with your pants down because she's not even backing up.
Well, I'd like to call for a make a motion that we approve the Shenandoah Hills Wind project.
No, hold on, I won't second that, now you can, but I'd like to say, if there's no contingencies, there should be a contingency based on what? On the radio station, there's hours.
That's from what they said. I just between the FCC and Invenergy and KYFR, it's private matter.
You're gonna blow people's homes up and they're okay with that.
And then, out of respect, Brian, I appreciate your passion. I appreciate your perspective. I do want to say this. You're please, let's show, we have heard.
Hey, let's keep it down, and we're just gonna listen to what they have to say, and we're gonna walk out.
We have heard from a number of people who are in favor, and in my heart of hearts. Okay, no, we're not public comment, sir.
Yeah.
We're not public comment. So anyway, I've got a motion, and if somebody wants to second it.
Okay.
With the issues on the table and the great concern of JD being the definition of material change, which is, I do not feel he's competent to do that, make that calling. And with the pipeline and all these concerns and the radio station, I second everything. I will second this one.
I'll second the motion to approve the Shenandoah Hills Wind project application.
Well, now it's time for discussion.
Yeah.
I will not vote for this. There's about a dozen reasons, I think, and I don't know how many times we're going to talk about it. And I'm very, like Brian said, you're nice guys. And just
Don't touch me.
But what I'm going to say is, I just shocked us. I don't know how you're going to vote. I think I do, but maybe I don't. So, but I'm going to say how I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote no. All right, I think knows that probably. And then I'm going to say why here before we vote. I've got all kinds of issues with the ordinance and all that stuff. That's not why I'm voting no on this application. I got to look at an application like that. The lawyer had to look at our ordinance. I'm voting no because Page County has entered into one agreement. And they broke that. And I brought that up 100 times. So 100% of the deals they made with Page County, they have broke. Not obeyed. Second reason is that a representative, as I talked about tonight, stood here in this room. I've dealt with sales my whole life, from big things and little things. Lied to my face and lied to people in this room. I do not do business with sales with a lie. I've said that and I'll say it again. It'd be foolish to vote for something like that. Okay? Because, I had an old guy tell me one time, if somebody will lie to you, they'll steal it. All right? You don't do liars. So that's another number 2 reason I'm not voting for you guys. It doesn't have to do with setbacks. They lied. Okay? They broke their agreement, they lied to us. The top reason, not vote for this is the application is full of problems. Like Brian said, it's full of. We've got errors everywhere. We've got things that aren't complete. We've got things that aren't done. We've got things that are in question. And I'm very disappointed, Big E, in this material change definition, which I think does not hold water. And there is, as far as Page County goes, if 4 turbines were removed, or even 3 turbines were over 10%. So even this old email I got that said there wasn't 10%, in Page County there will be more than, I don't think any way in the world will be 3 turbines removed, which would mean a material change, which would mean this should be back to the drawing board, it should not be passed. Okay? This is not difficult. To summarize this company has acted in a bully manner. Mike, or Blazer, whatever his name was, acted ridiculous. I've never dealt with something like that in my life. And they threatened us, they tried to throw around their money and their attorneys. How many? I can't even count how many. I do not know how many attorneys they have. It's dozens, maybe. They broke their agreements. As somebody that's elected to sit here and try to protect the county and do right by what we're sitting here to do, and make a decision. If we were buying windows from somebody who'd been caught, who'd lied to us, who'd been caught breaking agreements, we wouldn't buy windows. I would say, no, I vote against them. I don't care what their proposal says. They lied to me, so I'm not going to vote for them. There, that wraps it up. I'm voting no, and I want that in the record. It's based on dishonesty, broken agreements, and bad business ethics. That's how I feel about it. That's my discussion.
I just want to say, I'm gonna look each of you in the eye. I'm not afraid to look any of you in the eye.
Yeah.
Okay? Not afraid to look any of you in the eye. And I appreciate your passion, but I want you to know that I've looked at this long and hard. Long and hard. And I believe it's in the best interest of Page County. I believe it's in the best interest of Page County, and I'm gonna vote. 73% of the voters chose me in both those elections.
Run again.
And I'm not running again. I'm done. Page County, and I will vote. But I appreciate your passion. But I will say one thing that I disagree with that was said here tonight. That everybody in this room had compromise in their heart. Yeah. There are a lot of people in this room that wanted zero turbines. That was their compromise, and that is wrong in my view for the landowner who wishes to participate.
In my discussion of that statement, where is your compromise? Would be, again, yeah, some people are no, but it doesn't seem like you have much either. I called and asked and talked to both of you in January of 19 or December at that meeting, and there was compromise in the wording we talked about. Not 1 inch was compromised. So scolding them on uncompromised, not 1 inch.
I'm not trying to scold anybody, I'm just trying to tell you that
your justice is not compromised. 1 inch.
Well, the light was for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hold it down. We have a lot of passion here, but let's.
Are you thinking about needing a campaign manager?
You're telling us.
I was for Jacob.
You have not compromised one.
Okay, Ashley, thank you.
Ashley, come on. Yeah. We all have passion, and we're not happy, but we need to listen. And
I don't know. We haven't voted yet.
There's gonna be some things that happen after the vote, if they vote yes, and I'm pretty excited.
I'll say this, as a farmer who's done business, not doing business with somebody because they lied to you and broken agreements is good luck to it. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because I've done business my whole life, and somebody lies to you and breaks agreements, and you don't choose to get into an application, they can try all they want to scream you've done something wrong. And there's no way that was. I'll do it myself.
Good. You guys.
They're not worried about the lawsuits.
Yeah, that.
You're living the rest of your life.
Yep, you're right.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So we all will live with this the rest of our lives. At this time, you want to do a roll call? Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. This the rest of our lives. At this time, you want to do a roll call? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely no.
Okay.
More communication.
More communication.
EMA meeting tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow night, I heard by a couple of
So, 5 o'clock, and need to talk with, I need to talk with Lyle before he leaves.
If we still have a little bit of meeting to go on here, if everybody wants to sit in here, that's fine. But otherwise, we still have some items we need to cover. So if I could have everybody, please try to refrain from talking too loud. Okay, so you've got EMA tomorrow night.
At 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, and
it's going to be here.
Here at the Page Room.
Yeah. Two candidates finalists.
We've got 2 candidates Okay, folks.
Please move it outside. We're
Yes.
trying to conduct the rest of our meeting.
Still
Please
have a
move it
meeting.
outside.
Please. Okay, 5 o'clock tomorrow night, EMA meeting. You got two candidates that is
That
going
the
to
whole board is going to interview.
The whole board is going to
Interview.
Can you hear okay? Nope.
Does 911 have anything to do with that or not?
Just EMA.
Two candidates.
Hey, Lyle, can you get him in the hall, please? We can't hear.
Yep.
These
Thank
people
you.
pay for the courthouse,
Yep.
you know, they pay for it. I'm not that worried about it.
Two candidates, the full board is doing that tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Trying to think what else. I had a visit with Lyle today. I just wanted to report he did have a couple of pickups that he is getting outfitted, and I did talk to Lyle about maybe bringing that forth to discuss with the auditor's office about if either of those pickups is in need for being purchased by another department.
Yeah.
So I think he was going to talk to the auditor's department on that once it gets done. Yeah, he's already got the two new pickups, and he bought them outright, and they'll have two that'll be one almost ready to trade in, or to either sell outright or whatever. So trying to think. I had Jacob, do you have any meetings you want to go first? I'm sorry.
I did not have any meetings.
I had SWIPCO meeting last Friday. We had to have a special board meeting to approve a new software issue. Payroll system for SWIPCO, rather pricey, but it was something that they can do and use, and it works a lot better for the drivers. Yes, Lyle, do you need something?
No,
Okay, okay.
I need to talk with you before you leave.
I'm trying to think, SWIPCO, that was all I had last week, so.
Can you double check on SWIPCO, Christine, that the envelope that I prepared on Friday that needs Melissa's signature, has that been signed and sent? Can you check on that tomorrow? You did? Okay, great, thank you. Because she reached out.
Okay.
Do you have any more communication?
Well, I hope that down the road, when we deal with repercussions of this, you're somewhere around to do some kind of help. I cannot believe, going off this board, we talked 2 years ago about this. I cannot believe this. Not 1 inch compromise. I cannot believe it. I don't mind disagreeing, but I cannot believe it. Not one thing was really changed. I just can't believe it.
Speaking of that, I just looked at the date, the issue of the new moratorium, September 25th would be the 180 days. So at some point in time, relatively soon, I think we need to get that on the agenda to discuss. I know we've got a list of things that we talked about in that meeting. I know the lights. We talked about setbacks, making sure it's from the fence row or whatever instead of property line. Some of those issues, I think we need to probably look at that. Also,
They do, but this is real, what just happened here. This is
Yes, it
actually,
is,
it may never be another person ever come to Page County again.
Yes,
Want to
it
build.
might
Even
be.
if we leave the ordinance alone, they might not come. This is
Um,
really gonna affect people.
Do you want to work on some language for updating the ordinance, or do you want to extend the moratorium?
I think to do an ordinance, a well-meaning ordinance can have holes in it. A well-meaning ordinance can have holes in it, no doubt about it, but I think it's gonna take serious time to get it fixed. And I'm fine with extending it, or we're gonna get real serious about trying to plug a bunch of holes.
Well, you want to put the bullet points together of what's important, what
I've done it
holes you want
before,
to-
I have it in this folder, but I sure don't mind taking it to January 1st.
okay, and that's fine. That's fine, or even go, if you went 6 months from September 25th, that would put you back into March 20,
9th, roughly. Well, it'd be March 21st or somewhere in that area. So if you went 6 months again, that'd give you 3 months into the new year, get you through the budget, give you time to figure out those questions. So
More time is better. Without a moratorium, we're left exposed.
right. Also, have any of you done any more thinking on the solar ordinance? Okay.
No.
I don't think we've had anybody else approach us in the county, but I know we had somebody that had talked and discovered that we had nothing, so I think they're putting up a small attachment at their home. I don't think it was...
As we talked in meetings, home ones aren't what we're really worried about.
Right, no, it's more of the farm.
Industrial.
Yeah, the industrial
That could affect
farm.
the neighbor. Yeah.
Here's my thought on a solar ordinance. The benefit goes primarily to the landowners. The county has very little benefit.
Yeah.
And by the history of what has occurred with the wind ordinance being so contentious, I'd say I'm not interested in doing a solar ordinance, because I think you're buying a lot of dissension, and again, the county doesn't have much that it can.
Something to think about. Something to think about.
I'm not interested in working on one.
Then the other issue, I don't know if you read the news today, Montgomery County has had quite a bit of discussion about this eminent domain and about all that. They did send, and I forwarded on you guys some information from the company out of, and I'm bad with names, the engineering outfit that they looked at in Montgomery County.
Right.
And they seem to be doing, so we don't probably need to have it in place yet, but it might not be a bad idea to look at that information, see if we want.
Who are the people that we did kind of
The
say
letter of intent
we
with
might do something with?
Yeah.
That other outfit.
ISP
This
was-
isn't the same people though.
No, this is actually, let me see if I can find that email I sent you guys. I'm bad at finding stuff here. Trying to think when that would have been. Oh, here we go. This was Snyder and Associates out of Atlantic. They're the ones that made the presentation to Montgomery County. And I sent that to you on July 29th, Jacob.
I remember that now.
So, and I personally know of them through the city of Shenandoah. They're good organization. They do a lot of work for Shenandoah. Anyway, this information that I sent to you guys takes care of probably any of those questions of what they can do and so forth.
On the topic of the pipeline, what's the application deadline of the eminent
you know,
domain
Christine,
committee?
when our deadline for the people, the compensation condemnation board, you know when the deadline was in paper? I know we've gotten a few applicants, probably, I've been in contact with maybe 5 or 6 people in the area. The 15th of August? Okay. Because as soon as that deadline is up, we probably need to grab things. Have we had very many applications come in? Okay.
Yes, we don't want to forget to get that on the agenda.
Yeah, probably in a couple of weeks. Well, yeah.
So, on that topic, I was criticized for...
22nd. Yeah, it'd be the 22nd, probably.
22nd.
Because the 15th is on 2, 9, 16th. So we might be able to do it on the 16th. I'll keep an eye on that.
Your feeling on future meetings? I was criticized for taking another job at the prison, and I'm in training for at least another week or 2 weeks. Don't know what my schedule will be. Anticipate Tuesday and Wednesday being the off days, but I don't know that. Once I'm through the training, it's likely that I will be free in the morning. It's probably a 2 to 10 shift. I appreciate you're working with me on schedule. I think you're, January, we're gonna have to work around Todd's schedule, as I understand it. Does he work days?
What I think he said is, the way out there is they'll give him any flexibility he wants. So that's what he decided to run. They said he would accommodate his schedule.
Okay, so I appreciate you accommodating mine.
Well, I am all about accommodating, but the biggest people I'm gonna accommodate is the taxpayers. In the evening, as I've said, and you even said when you ran, the evening is the most accommodating like it is right now for you in the day shift. I understand you got an issue there, but taxpayers don't worry about accommodating, and I believe we should have evening meetings like I ran on. And I'm not trying to hurt you, but a whole bunch of them paying our salaries. So now you guys can do what you want with that. But
Yeah, I'm okay if you want to continue in the afternoon, evening. I don't, you know, it affects me. I mean, it costs me money. It's been costing me money for 5 years, but that was my choice.
Right, that's part of it.
That's part of life.
There's a lot of days that ain't very handy.
Yep.
But number one person to accommodate is the taxpayer. And I believe the evening is the most easy time. Most of the time, no one will come.
Yep.
But if they need to, they can. And a standing meeting that doesn't change all the time is also way easier to know when to show up. I have a hard enough time, some of these meetings that happen once a month, sneak up on you, even when they are standing.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So, a standing meeting at a time that accommodates the taxpayer.
Yeah, the only issue with night meetings is for the auditor's
Staff.
office. And like tonight with the question regarding the referendum vote, I'm not good with Iowa code. I know it's there, and I should have told her to ask the auditor, but I know that the auditor has told me, the Secretary of State has told me, I can't find the code on the fly. If we had an auditor here, she could go downstairs, get her book, and probably bring it up.
Well, if we need to, if we don't have somebody that can fulfill the needs, the board can hire somebody to look up stuff for
It's
them.
true.
If we need to, in the evening.
It's true.
A minimal cost at an hour a week, 1 to 2 weeks, 1 to 2 hours.
I sent you some information a while back too, Jacob, about the Treasury portal. Have you had any chance to look at that?
I have not been able to figure out how to get signed into that. I don't know if I need to come in here and go through that, or
Yeah, that would be fine.
get signed all the way into
If
it.
you'll read through the information, it'll tell you what all information you need to have. Most of it has to be a physical, like you have to hold up your driver's license, you have to hold up a water bill, you know, whatever. It's not hard to do, it just you gotta pay attention to what they tell you to do, because those people that are doing it aren't from Clarinda, they're from some agency that works for the government, so.
Well, they're wanting, like, if this pickup or with JD's suggestions there, which I think are good ideas, we talked about trying to connect some roads and some spots.
Right.
It wouldn't even be, in the scheme of things, very expensive for what we're dealing with, a few $1,000s would maybe improve something. Just make sure somebody's double, triple check this.
But I will definitely assist you on anything in the future, but, you know, I'm not always going to be available every time somebody calls, but I would love to get you into this Treasury portal, and I would suggest as upcoming possible chairman for next year, I would suggest that you probably would want to talk to the auditor's office and see if you can get somebody in there to also be involved in that, so there's 2 people or 3 people, as we've had in the past, to make sure that everybody, because there are some loopholes there that you just always don't know, and we don't always know the wording. And it's not always easy. It's not a quick and easy thing just to sit down and enter it. It's not like shopping online. It takes a little bit of time to get into that system each time to get to those pages. So, you know, I'll be glad to assist you in any way I can, but.
Who all would be the right people to be on it? Be an auditor? Basically, any supervisor can be on it.
I would say, yeah.
Right now, it's Tom, Nordhughes, who's
myself,
discontinued me, Alan.
Yeah.
Just more people thinking about it.
Yeah. But I think you need at least 3, just in case something comes up, a question like we had about that one wording, and it's a lot easier if you've got 2 or 3 people that can look at it instead of just 1, in case the other 2 are busy. So.
Anybody going to ISAC in August?
I don't think I am.
Are you going?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
I haven't looked
Was
at
the day
that.
the last?
Tomorrow's the deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline to
It's what
register.
we got an email today.
Yeah, I just saw that email, so.
See what their classes are.
Yeah.
So I better write that down.
I figured if I'm not even sure what's the dates for that.
And then I don't know if you saw, we got invited to the White House.
Yes, I did, for that, a visit?
Yeah, it's virtual or in person.
Okay, I saw the virtual part. Well, virtual or in person. And is that the one about the climate change?
Yeah, the climate change.
Yeah, so, yes, I saw that. I'm registered. I didn't think I probably would fly out. But if I can listen to the tape recording afterwards, I will. So.
Well, I'd make a motion, we approve the claims as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes. I didn't look back through them. We had 2 sets of minutes. Are we doing both sets?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can.
We've got July 26th and July 29th. July 29th is pretty simple.
I didn't have a problem when I saw anything.
Pardon?
I didn't.
Did not.
Did not, I didn't when I looked through it when I got mail.
I just looked at the last one.
Okay.
It's pretty short.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve minutes from July 26th and July 29th as submitted.
I'll second that.
Okay. Jacob?
I seconded that.
No. I'm sorry, all those in favor? Jacob?
I seconded that.
No. I'm sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, Jacob.
Oh, yeah, motion to adjourn. How about that?
Second. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. We're done. Done.
Your professionalism. I don't vastly disagree.
I
Second, his leadership and being
I'll
together.
he did not have anything that day, but I did get some comments from him. I'll have, she had some suggestions on a little bit of this. I'll send her a note back tonight, tell her where we're at, and see if she can work with Carl, we're gonna put together.
So, I mean,
And then,
it's like you
I don't know
backfire.
if we have to do it in a, I presume.
Everybody's a human being.
So next week is
If
the
you're
earliest
receiving
time to actually sign
from
it.
a few,
Or to,
that
but
you're gonna be
the application,
by what you say.
you know, whatever.
You try to work through that pile.
You guys
You
have
try to work
something
through
that
it.
needs to
You
be
don't
done in a
affect
certain order.
There are times when I didn't listen, but
But I'll talk to Maria, I'll send her a note here in a little bit, let her know, and see if I can get her to help me put together a new one. So, okay. Okay.
I was trying to figure